Our audience is curious to hear your thoughts about monetization of the game. What's the intention behind that? Are you going to change the Vigor system? The next question is a worldwide launch question. Why are there such vast discrepancies between viability of most of the heroes? Why are all of our updates coming so far and few in between? Good day, good nights, and welcome to a very special edition of Nightly Update. Not only is it our second episode, which makes it very, very special, but this is a Q&A curated by your questions, and I'm here with these very fine gentlemen right here next to me. Take it away.
Hey, Nick Anderson.
Hi, Morgan.
And we're gonna go through your questions. I'm your host, Kabam Dork. Let's get into it. All right, so we asked the players for their questions, and a lot of them did come in. So what we did was we took a lot of the questions that were kind of similar, we kind of grouped them together, that were kind of asking the same things. So a few of the players have mentioned over the last few betas, the game is giving less and less rewards with each update. So others have mentioned things about our awakening system and our keepsakes, and some of the other decisions that we've made. So our audience is curious to hear your thoughts about monetization of the game, where it's going in the future, and can you speak on that?
Cool, so I'll start and I'll speak about just sort of general philosophy regarding monetization, and Morgan here can speak to more granular detail. I think in terms of monetization, we're looking to do things that are sort of like equitable and fair. Over the course of the beta, we're learning from the players, we're doing things, we're interacting with them and seeing how things are being manipulated. We're just trying to make it right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't look at this again. I think I've heard you or seen you say in other forums, like, this is not our final form. It definitely is not. There are a lot of really good things we think will come to this moving forward. Morgan.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the specific issues that happened in OBT5 a little bit more deeply. We followed the reaction from the community very, very closely, and we reacted as quickly as we could. We already had plans in place to address some of this. Some of this is part of releasing towards worldwide launch and having features roll online. So when it comes to Awakening, we knew that there were changes we wanted to make to this feature, but we wanted to get it out there. We are already planning to look at how players interact with that system in the future, what it costs, and the rewards it provides. In terms of expeditions, which was the other big piece of this, and pulling back those rewards, it's actually a change we wanted to do for a while. Expeditions, as a lot of people have realized, is not really in the state that we want it to be in right now. It doesn't feel right for that to have such a big mandate for players to play it with the hard currency rewards it was giving. So while that caused frustration, especially with the Awakening system change we added, we are definitely looking at this area, and we have other features that are going to come online hopefully soon that are going to address some of this disparity that you guys are seeing. So I hope that we can look at this just as a temporary thing and not the long-term solution. We're really looking towards what the long-term play is with this.
Nice, so long-term meaning not the final form?
Yes, Dave.
Okay, not the final form. There wasn't a joke there. It wasn't a joke there. I just wanted to make it clear. It's not the final form. There's going to be more stuff coming. Okay, next question. This is a gameplay question. And a lot of the players have been talking to us about how bosses have this kind of unavoidable crowd control mechanic. They're not able to use their characters at the way that they want to. So, for example, like Frostbear can freeze an entire team easily. I know we fixed that recently, but this is the type of thing that they're speaking to. So what they wanted to know is, like, what's the intention behind that, and is that going to change?
So whenever we talk about bosses, our intention is to give the players unique gameplay situations to get around that force them to build certain teams. And unfortunately, some of those situations are really focused around sustain, which is why in the last update and reactively and going forward, we are actually looking at reducing the health and the defense even further. We are really cognizant about how long these battles take, especially with a lot of the sustain strategies that are currently dominating the meta, and we really want to pull back on that over time. So I don't want to talk about specifically the meta that's been established right now, but I want people to be realized that we're going to change that as things go forward, and that we're really cognizant of how much time you have to spend in these dungeons and how frustrating it is. We do not want battles to be taking like 5 or 6 minutes. We want them to be much shorter, much more rewarding overall.
Okay, good. So not 800 turns.
Not 800 turns. I looked through a lot of the user data that we had and a lot of the feedback from the community, and that was one of the first actions we really looked at. And we took one pass, and spoiler, it wasn't enough. These battles are still taking a very long time to get through, so we'll address that even further in coming updates.
All right. Sounds like we're taking a positive turn on that situation. Okay, this is another gameplay question. Are you going to change the vigor system? It seems like you can only focus on using one hero's moves and the rest are just kind of stuck using their first ability.
One of the first things that I wanted to look at was how our combat system is, and the direction that I worked on with the designers for the game is that I want our characters to be able to use their ultimate abilities together, right? That's the fun part of an RPG, finding out how these characters interact to achieve cool effects, to allow players to personalize their playstyle with the characters. So we are planning updates to that area. I don't want to give too many details right now because we're still building out exactly what the change is going to be. So no spoilers, but we're looking at how Vigor interacts with the combat system, changing the costs on some abilities, and I think the changes that you guys are going to see in the next updates are going to be pretty substantial.
And this isn't the first time either, right? We had our first initial Vigor change from OBT2 to OBT3, and that was very fairly received.
Yeah, I mean, the intention with sort of the first one was, hey, people don't have enough vigor to do anything.
Yeah.
Right now we're seeing, like to Morgan's point, like the dynamics of combat aren't really being adequately expressed. You may be stuck doing one or you're saving up for three. And we really want the interplay across all of the skills, right? For more dynamic combat encounters.
Yeah, that's what I'm liking.
More abilities, more ultimates, faster combat.
None of that sounds bad. I like all of that. Okay, next gameplay question here. Do you intend to add additional details to skill descriptions, better defining the amount a stat contributes to the damage or effect of the skill?
Yes. Short answer, yes. We hear you. We have read the comments. We have seen the comments regarding it. Some of the skills aren't even clear to me.
Yeah.
And so we're taking steps to improve sort of the readability and understanding of those skills right now. Look forward to sharing more about that in the near future.
Awesome. So are you talking about things like defense increase 1, 2, and 3, like how that actually affects a particular increase or decrease?
I'll take that. So specifically when skills are dealing damage, they deal damage based on stats, but it's very opaque, like how much is being dealt. That's the problem we want to solve firstly. Secondarily, as Nick said, we want to improve clarity overall on the skills so that they're using more readable language is what I would say. So I hope in the next updates, you guys are going to see a big change to how that all comes together. And I really hope it makes skills easier to understand overall.
Yes.
Nice. Well, that's funny that you mentioned that about the next update, because the next question is a worldwide launch question. And the question simply is, when will the game be launched officially?
Which camera do I look at? Which is there? When it's done. No, I'm kidding. As mentioned in your prior update to the group, it's like, we're looking at spring 24 right now. Don't want to get any more granular than that. Like, as Morgan's been alluding to, we're doing a lot of really heavy lifting right now, just trying to make the game as best as it can possibly be, right? So spring 24, look forward to more info.
I'm looking forward to that, spring 2024. All right, taking a little bit of a break here from the questions. We're going to ask some of the more lifestyle questions that we received from our players. And one of the burning ones was, what is your favorite game outside of King Arthur Legends Rise? Because that probably is your top favorite game right now, King Arthur Legends Rise. But if there was a second place, what would that be?
Oh, this one's easy. Chrono Trigger.
Wow.
Chrono Trigger, all killer, no filler, Japanese RPG.
That's a good answer.
Me and him have discussions about this. He likes Chrono Trigger. I like Secret of Mana. It's like back in the day, that was kind of like the Prince and Michael Jackson beef, It's like Secret of Mana is mine. Love that game. Love the story. Love the style. Love the RPG aspect, the switching of characters, and it was an amazing experience on that console back in the day.
Also features a certain very familiar sword. What about you, Morgan?
You can't ask a designer that question. I can't limit it to one, so I'm going to ramble on for a little bit.
All right.
Chrono Trigger, amazing game. I'd like to go a little bit further back, Final Fantasy IV, just because of the heritage in establishing story in that genre. It started with FF2 a little bit more, but Space Whale, how do you beat that? World of Warcraft will hold a special place in my heart. I hope people don't read into that too much. I don't play right now, but it was a big formative game for me overall. Halo 2, playing on Xbox, that was the first real multiplayer shooter experience I had. I played that probably for years straight. And then we go into some of the other titles, like some of the more popular ones. I really love Super Mario Brothers RPG. That was awesome, the perfect marriage.
Wonderful
of Mario.
game.
Yeah.
I have not played the remaster yet. I'm really looking forward to that.
This one is regarding heroes and balance, right? So they feel like the same heroes haven't been adjusted or debugged since beta release. They want to know like why that is, and generally, why are there such vast discrepancies between viability of most of the heroes?
I'll take it in one part. In order to do this game balancing work that we do, it requires a large amount of data. We need to see a variety of different types of interactions. We need to see how people push and pull on like the models that we've constructed in order to make meaningful changes, right? If we are to make meaningful changes. So part of the reason of leaving things sort of as they are is we want to see, well, how are people interacting with these things now? At this point, I believe we know enough to start taking some action regarding this. And to that, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, so as part of the changes to Vigor that we've already talked about, we are going to make a lot of changes to characters. This topic has been really present in mind. We have a lot of characters, not all of them have a home, I think is the right way to put this. So as we look at the content that we have, as we look at the content coming up, we are trying to make sure that we're building in modes that will task you to play with more of your characters. At the same time, we're going back to look at some of the characters we already have and make sure they get a little bit of love. I don't want to say which characters too much right now. Arthur, a little bit. But we're looking at characters overall, and this will go on post-launch as well. We will be committed to not only releasing new characters, which I know is a big deal right now as well, but to looking at the characters we have and making sure that everyone has a purpose.
Nice. To circle back on your answer, so it sounds like it's better for players to use more characters to feed kind of like the data machine so that you can see how a character is used? Or is it better that they see it and they're like, well, I don't really have much use for that, and they don't use it at all?
Action and inaction both tell a story.
Yep.
I would be biased on the side of action. I would like to see how things are used and how they work, and be able to like make some distinctions based on that, or recommendations based on that. You know, the viability is relative to what you're trying to do.
Understood. The next question is heroes and lore. So while a lot of the characters in the game obviously come from Arthurian legend, there are also some original creations in there. They want to know exactly like what inspired these characters. Why did we go this direction for this story? Because King Arthur and like, you know, demon savages don't kind of like mix.
It's a big question, but I can answer it somewhat simply. We didn't want to give you a story that you already knew. It's not a direct retelling of Arthurian legend. In fact, I think that's impossible. There's too many variations
Totally.
of the story there. But what we could do is we could look across sort of like European mythology and folklore and try to bring something together that would be uniquely interesting, that we could, you know, sort of modify or enhance the quest. And I think there's a lot of really fun surprises and new things that'll be coming soon.
Yeah, and on that note, we get a lot of people loving Beeborn. Beeborn's like kind of like the favorite, but he loves like the talking shark, right? Shark Week's gonna be amazing. We have demons, undead, fairies. Can we expect to see more of this type of like visually, you know, capturing type of character?
Expect the unexpected.
I mean, what can I say? Absolutely, right?
I mean, you can't say no, right?
Shark head man.
I like it. It's been going swimmingly, by the way. So I'm all for it.
Nothing's off the table.
All right, I am looking forward to that.
Nothing's off the round table.
See, it always comes around. They always come around. Okay, so why are all of our updates coming so far and few in between?
Things take time, right? Simply said. We are, again, receiving a lot of data, evaluating that data, making decisions on the information that we have, and not just the data that's coming from the game, from people who are playing, but the things that people are saying, videos that people are posting. We're consuming all of these things and like putting it into our plans. Also, as some may have noticed, is that, you know, we are now available on Steam. That was a big reason for the gap between the previous beta and the most recent one. It's because we're investing a lot of energy and time in trying to craft a really beautiful experience for that PC platform.
All right. And what do we call that?
What do we call that, Dave?
We call it crossplay. And you can do it now. You can play on your mobile. You can play on your tablet. You can put the tablet down. You can jump on Steam. You'll continue right where you left off. If you got to go to work, you can put the mouse down, grab your phone again, get on the bus or get in your car, make sure you put it on auto first before you start driving the car. Okay. And then you can just drive to work. Don't do it while you're driving. But then all of it is interconnected, and it's done so well. And so I'm really excited about crossplay, and this is why I'm always constantly saying crossplay now, because it is an exciting prospect.
Yeah, I mean, the dream is to give you a game that it can exist in any context that you do. If you want to if you're sitting at a desk and you want to get your game on, get your game on. If you got to walk away, pick up your phone or your tablet, get your game on.
All right, so our last question here, it's a development question, more quality of life type things. So we've got a question about Expedition. They talk a lot about the time requirement, like why it takes so long to run from one node to another, and just like the overall time required for that. We have a question about skill order updates, and then just, like I said, a bunch of other quality of life type questions.
So I'll kind of address this in different parts. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with specific topics like turn order and skill order and things like that. We're listening to the community. Over time, we're going to make the game easier to play. I think that's the best way to put it, to reduce the friction that you guys feel like every day as you're going through the loop. I do want to talk about Expedition a little bit because we talked about it earlier as well. Just so it's really clear for everybody, we are not happy with where Expedition is at right now. We are looking forward to coming back and addressing that feature. We hear you super loudly on the time that it takes to get between nodes. There's a whole bunch of design reasons why that decision was originally taken, and we're reevaluating that now based on community feedback, based on getting our hands on this. So Expeditions, there will be updates coming in the future, and I'm really excited to start getting our teeth into those. I do have to say that it's not a priority for us at the moment. There are a lot more core issues about how players are progressing through the game, combat duration, the bosses, character balance, awakening. They are much more pressing. And so I just want to say, we are aware of these things and we really appreciate when people reach out. All honesty, we're not looking at it right now, but we're excited to look at it in the future.
What was that main reason again as to why you started changing Expedition?
Expeditions has
a
said long
community feedback.
Yeah.
That was the main reason. Community feedback was the main reason you stepped in and started making the change?
It's not the only reason, but yeah, I don't want anyone to get too big for their britches, but yeah.
He's gassed up now.
I'm just saying, it's a good thing. We get this feedback, we get these questions. We do hear you. I know that we said we hear you a lot. That was like our mantra for a while, but you can see that we hear you. It's kind of weird that you can see the hearing, but it's happening.
It's not just that though, right? We don't just hear you. We're playing the game alongside you too. And no, please.
I was just going to I read every comment.
I know you do.
I watch every video.
It's true.
And I play alongside you, try to play as you. We're building this game for you, right? And we hope that you can begin to feel that more and more as we release some of our really cool updates that we're working on. So when we say we hear you, trust and believe, we truly do.
He really does. And there you have it. Noble Knights, you got a peek into our process, what we do, how we think, how we're going to move this game forward, and most importantly, that there is a lot more to come than what you are experiencing right now. We'll be doing more of these Q&As as we get closer to worldwide launch, so make sure you keep your questions coming, keep on testing the game, try things out that you didn't try before, and feed us all that data that we need to make the best game possible. I want to give a very special thank you to Nick and Morgan for joining us today and giving us insight into all that awesome stuff. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget the game's on Steam and on iOS and on Google Play, and you can do it through crossplay now. See you next time.